Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris. Another day out here in Arizona, loving life, living life. We're working, we're grinding, we're doing everything we need to. We're doing everything right that we're supposed to be doing. And that's something I want to touch on today is doing the right thing. Sometimes doing the right thing is difficult. It's you look at it and you don't want to, or it might affect people around you. Doing the right thing sometimes hits a point to where it's you don't want to do it sometimes because you're worried about what other people are going to think or whatever other people are going to feel or their reaction to what you're doing. But running this business, I have to make every decision unemotional. It's all got to be about the business. It's logic. It's what's going to be financially best for the business. I have to look at the greater good of everybody within the company. There is no one single person that this business revolves around. My company is not John Morse Painting. It is PHP Commercial Painting. It's an entity of its own. It's something that's always going to continue, that people can say they're a part of something bigger. It's and not knocking anybody out there, any company that names their business after themselves. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I've known a lot of people that have done that and then sold their business. The business keeps the name. It's after their last name or whatever the case is. And sometimes that name carries some weight because of what they've built over the years. But with me, when I looked at building this company and growing it, when we first started this business, the original name of it was phoenixhousepainting.com LLC. And that was a name I thought it kind of clicked at the time. I was looking for something that if people wanted to find me, it would be really easy. The other thing I was looking at is in Phoenix, Arizona out here, if I'm going to have a business, what is the best way to find our company? And I figured we were doing a lot of residential back then. And I figured if I was going to do something, how are they going to find me if they're doing a Google search? And most people living in Phoenix are going to put the keywords Phoenix house and then painting. So for me, there was nobody named Phoenix House Painting out there. So I went with the name phoenixhousepainting.com and it clicked and organically it blew up and we got a ton of residential. Over the years, we changed the name. We were bidding a lot more commercial work. I knew that's the direction I wanted to go. There's a lot more money in commercial work. I can bid a job for $300,000 and it takes us 3 months to do this project. The amount of residentials I have to do to make that kind of money is a lot more and a lot more headaches, a lot more people to deal with. So as we grew, I got a DBA doing business as PHP Commercial Painting, and we kind of ran with that. So we now call ourselves PHP Commercial Painting, or a lot of people just call us PHP. And it's interesting how we've grown over the years into this. And as we've grown, I wanted to create something that was going to be bigger than myself. I wanted to create a business that people could, if they came to work here, they could be part of something bigger. They could be a part of something that was always going to grow. And over the years, when we were first started, I'd had a couple people working for me that started in the beginning. And as they moved into superintendent positions, we started growing and adding more people. Some of them didn't want to continue working for me because they said, I don't want to work for a big company. I want to work for a small company. It's a little more family oriented. And I thought to myself, as I'm growing and as I'm doing this, it doesn't matter the size of the company. It matters on the leadership and how we present ourselves as a company and how we carry ourselves with our employees. And we are now a much, much bigger company. And we're still family. We're still connected to each other. Every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, we do a Zoom with anybody in the company that wants to jump on. And it's only for 10 to 15 minutes or so. And basically it's, what's your win? What was your win from the day before? It could be personal. It could be work. It could be anything, but something positive, nothing negative. And for some of the guys, it helped connect us. For some of the people work in the office, we all meet in the conference room, anybody in the office, and then everybody out in the field, they hop on their Zoom on their phones. And any given day, we average maybe 10 to 15 people on there. A lot of the guys out there and girls, they aren't able to get on the Zoom because of the hours they're working. Some are night crews. Some just, depending on what they're in the middle of painting, they can't jump on there. But what it does is it keeps us connected. It keeps us relevant with each other. And the part I love about this is when they talk about their win, and Some of them say, my win is having a job and working for PHP. And it gives me satisfaction knowing that we created something that even when we were small, we were a family with only 10 employees. And now to the point we're at, we're still a family with the amount of employees that we have. It doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are. It depends on you and your personality and your attitude and how you treat people around you. I'm always going to take care of the men and women that work for me. It's really difficult. Even today, I was on the phone with a customer, somebody I've done a lot of work for, and my phone rang. As I'm talking to him, and I recognize the name on there. It's a previous employee that worked for us, and he's struggled over the last couple of years. And even right now, knowing what he's going through, and he called me, and I ended up calling him back, and I asked him what's going on, and he just started crying. And turns out he's on his second beer. And it is only, it's 11:30 in the morning right now. And this was about a half hour ago. It's a situation that I have to ask myself, what's in the best interest for the company, for me? Do I help this person out? He's had his opportunities with us. He's been pulled over and locked up for driving without a driver's license. He's had a couple issues. He's got marriage problems. He's really struggling. And through the conversation, I basically told him, if you do not dump out that second beer you're drinking right now, this conversation's over. We will not continue. And so I made sure that he did it. Obviously, I'm trusting him that he did. And he said he was heading down to go get a bike that his sister has for him, but he needs help. And he said the best thing that's ever happened for him living here in Phoenix is working for PHP, for our company. And I told him, I'm going to get you help. I want to get you admitted into a program. I don't think he needs to go in detox. He's not on drugs or anything else. And he just started drinking again. He's been sober for quite some time. So I'm going to try and get him in the program where we have our vocational class. I'm going to get him through there. It's a 90-day program. We're going to get him through this if he's willing to. Right now, I'm just waiting on a phone call from him for me to go pick him up. I don't care where he's at. I'm going to go and help him. Even though this man does not work for me anymore, there's still a connection. He was working for us. We've been connected for the last 2.5 years. And the last time he worked for us was about 2, maybe 3 months ago. But there's something different with this situation, and it has nothing to do with work. It has nothing to do with PHP. What it has to do with is doing the right thing. The man needs help. He's calling, he's reaching out, and he has nowhere else to turn. Or at least that's the way he feels. Even though there's a ton of places he can go and he can figure it out. But he reached out to me. I will drop everything today. I will stop this podcast if I have to and go pick him up and get him where he needs to be, if that's what it takes to get him back on the right track. And what I will guarantee is, if he goes through the 90-day program that I want to get him into, and he goes through the vocational class, I will guarantee him a job back with me again, and he'll have another chance. Sometimes we need multiple chances. We need multiple opportunities. I look at my personal life, and every one of you listening to this or watching this can reflect on your own lives and say, how many times have I made a mistake? How many times have I needed a second chance or a third chance? How many times have I hit rock bottom? You know, it's interesting how a lot of people hit rock bottom and then they think they're getting out of that. But there's another rock bottom down the road that we don't foresee. We don't know that's going to happen. And we have to just continue doing the right thing as we continue. I can't say that everybody's going to hit rock bottom once and pull themselves out of it, or they're going to hit it 2 times and pull themselves out of it. Some people have hit rock bottom 3 or 4 times. In my personal life, I probably hit it a few times. There's been moments where I thought I was at the worst point in my life, and I thought there was no coming back from it. But somehow I always came out of it. I always came back. I'm hoping I never hit rock bottom again. There's no guarantees. But the one guarantee I can say is, as long as I'm sober, I will not hit rock bottom. It's not going to happen, because I've got a good head on my shoulders. I'm thinking logically. There's no emotions involved in the decisions I make when it comes to finances or my life or the business. I'm going to make the best decision that's going to give me the most, whether it's the most money through working, whether it's the most in my relationship with my wife, if it's the most with my kids. There is no more rock bottom. The rock bottoms are done. So you have to ask yourself, if you're at that place, if you're at a point in your life that you're at rock bottom and you're not sure what to do, you got to reach out and get help. But I'm telling you, as long as you're sober, as long as you're doing the right thing, the rock bottoms are behind you. You're going to go through struggles. You're going to have issues. There's going to be speed bumps. I mean, life's going to hit you sideways sometimes, but you're not going to hit that rock bottom again. The rock bottom is when you're on drugs, alcohol, living on the streets, homeless. There is a way out of it. There's so many programs out there, and we're connected with so many different groups and programs that as long as you do the right thing, you will continue to proceed and be successful. I had the opportunity this morning to meet someone's pro officer. They came in the office to check on them, see where they're working at, see what's happening. And she's getting a new pro officer because she moved in a different location. And so this was their last visit, and they wanted to come to the office. And she brought her into my office, introduced me to the pro officer, and I got the opportunity to talk to her pro officer for a few minutes. And all I heard was that this person is the best person I've ever had on my case. They had nothing but good things to say. And when you're doing the right thing, when you're working and you're making money and you're putting one foot in front of the other and you're not using and you're focused on your success and what you need out of life, you will not hit that rock bottom again. It's not going to be there. But like I said, you will have problems. You will have speed bumps you're going to hit. Life's going to smack you. There's going to be everything from maybe a death in the family to, losing your job to anything. But you can find another job. You can go through therapy. You can get past whatever you're dealing with. But it doesn't mean you go back to using or drinking or your addiction or whatever it is. You have to stay the course. You have to stay on the path that's straight in front of you. So for me, when I have an individual like this that calls me out of the blue, and I really debated whether to call this person back because of all the issues in the past, but I thought there's got to be a reason that he's calling. I had to call him back. That's what's in my nature. I don't know, sometimes we wonder what our why is. Why are we here? Why are we doing different things? And sometimes over time, our why is going to change. When I first started teaching classes at New Freedom, I knew what my why was. My why was I'm helping people get jobs. I'm helping fix my company. I'm helping other businesses hire people out of this program. And now, years later, I look at my why I'm there and why I'm teaching, and it's different. The why now is because I see this whole class in front of me, and I see the people currently working for me. My why is now I need to get them to where my current employees are that came out of the program 3-4 years ago. I want them to see that success. So the reason I'm there is different now. But also at the same time, when I have an individual like this that's worked for me, that's out there and he's struggling, I'm going to get him back in this program and I'm going to get him where he needs to be. But I can't make the right decisions for him. He has to make the decision for himself. He has to decide to admit himself in this program. If I get him there, he's got to commit to it. He's got to stay the 90 days. If he can do that, there's a job waiting for him at the end of that 90-day program. He's just got to get himself back on track. It's funny because one of the things I teach in the class is, when they're there in my class in the evenings from 6 to 8, Monday and Tuesdays, we're talking about workforce skills, life skills, same thing we talk about on this podcast, how to be a good employee, how to be a better employee. And you can focus on this as much as you want. During the daytime, they're focused on their emotions, their mental state. They're getting themselves back on track where they need to be. It's behavioral health, basically. So they're doing that all day. They're talking about their feelings, their emotions all day. By the time they get to my class, and I tell them, I ask everybody new in the class, who's tired of talking about your feelings and emotions all day? Everybody raises their hands. And I literally tell them, well, forget your emotions and feelings. I don't care about that. Your boss isn't going to care about that on the job site. I'm here to talk about making money and helping you guys get a job. And they love that. They need that. So for these men and women going through this program, there is a brighter side. The grass is greener out there, but it's getting back on that track and focused on it. Now, if this guy goes through there, he focuses on this, he does it, I will give him another chance. We just hired another guy out of the program. He's been working for us for about 3-4 weeks now. He had come through the program 3 years ago. We had to let him go, and it was a drug situation a few years back, and disappeared. I hadn't heard from him. He went back to the streets. He violated parole. He got locked up again for 4 months. All of a sudden, he's in my class out of nowhere, and I'm seeing this kid, and I'm thinking, all right, what's going on? What happened? Where were you? And we talked about it. He went through the class. He did the advanced class. He did everything he was supposed to. What I did tell him, though, is I'm going to be harder on you this time. I'm going to push you harder than you've ever been pushed before. But what I want to do is, you're 3 years behind now. I need to get you up to speed where everybody else is. And that's why I'm going to push you harder, because where everybody else is, I'm going to get you there in 1.5 years, as long as you stay sober. And he knows that's the issue. The issue is staying sober. As long as he can maintain that and do that, he's never going to hit that rock bottom again. There won't be another rock bottom. Like I said, it doesn't mean he's not going to have issues or problems, but he's on that path of success. He's on the right direction. And as long as he stays on just that focused what's in front of him and realize there's no option B, there's only option A moving forward, he will be successful. So what I've done with him is he's actually on a job right now with one of my older guys that work for me that also came out of the program, who I've asked to mentor this kid and help him and guide him and keep him on the right path. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus more on supporting this person and making sure he's staying sober than we did in the past. I think what's happening right now with me personally is it's becoming a struggle for me, because I feel like all of a sudden I'm losing person after person after person right now to addiction, to drugs, to alcohol, or whatever their situation is. And it's getting frustrating. But I can't blame myself. I can't, it's on the person that does it. It's their issue. It's their problem. They have to figure it out. They have to be the ones to decide that enough's enough and I'm done. I'm going to get sober. I'm going to do the right thing moving forward, because we can't make that decision for them. Now, I have to look at this too at this point that, I'm giving them a second chance, and for some, they might say, well, it might be a third or fourth chance for them even, because we've let things slide or we worked with them on situations before. But ultimately, at this point, this will be the last chance for them with our company. Going through what they went through, getting locked back up, coming back out, finishing the 90-day program, doing everything over again, and committing to this, I have nothing else to do but give them a chance. They've earned it. They deserve it. I want success for these men and women. But at the end of the day, I can't blame myself. I can't take responsibility for anybody. The only person I can take responsibility for is me and my actions, nobody else's. So when I get these calls and I have the opportunity to help somebody again, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get them back where they need to be. Now, this person could call me 10 more times, and I'm probably going to help him 10 more times. Get into a treatment program, get into somewhere to get him back on track. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to give him a job 10 more times, but at least it's the right thing to do. And what we see out there with addiction, with the homelessness, and I don't know if it's more predominant here in the Phoenix area because of the climate, the temperatures, versus maybe somewhere like Chicago or somewhere in the northern states to where it's colder. But it seems like we just have a massive amount of homeless and drug addicts on the street right now. And if more people would get involved, more people would help them get out of these situations. There's got to be something more that's going to get them on the right track. It can't just be a few of us out there doing it. It can't be just a few programs. There's a lot of programs out there, but we need to do something different. And I don't know where it starts. You know, there's so many programs. There's so much funding out there for these different institutions and programs that it's the government helps out. There's so many tax breaks for a lot of these companies. We just need to get more involved. For me as a business owner and running my company, I've got a lot of friends that are the same way. They'll hire these men and women and give them the chances. But it does wear on you sometimes. It wears on us when we see time and time again somebody falling off. They go back to the streets. They get locked up again. I can't begin to count the amount of people that I've known over the last 4 years that are dead today, that have come through my doors either in class or working for me, or have disappeared completely. And I see the flyers that this person's missing. They're looking for him. It's difficult, but I have to keep moving forward. I have to keep helping. This is a mission that I'm on. My mission isn't just about me in this business. It's about helping men and women understand that they can have a better life if they just put their self to it and they work on it and they want it, but they have to want it. I don't know where this journey ends. I don't know when it stops, but I feel like I'm in the right place in my life right now to help these people. And that's what I have to do. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, or if I hear people say, oh, John, you do too much and maybe you shouldn't get that much involved. Well, the reality is I don't care what you think. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to help because it's the right thing for me to do. Because if I'm not going to help, who's going to? And if I can change one person's life in every class that walks in out of 20, 25 people, then that's a win for me. If I can show people, and the focus for me is the success stories that currently work for me right now. The men and women working for me that have made it past prison, they've made it past their addictions, and they're continuing to work for me, and they've been here for years. And it's awesome when I can shoot out a mass text to the whole company and say congratulations to someone on their 3-year anniversary or their 4-year anniversary working for us, or even their 1-year anniversary. And for some of them, this is the very first job they've ever had. They've never had a job in their life. A couple of people in the class last night that I was talking to, we were doing the application process, teaching them how to fill out an application, how to do an interview. And when we talk about what was your last job, and a couple of people, their last job was in prison, doing something in there. Well, did you get paid for it? Well, yes. I got paid 35 cents an hour. These men and women are in prison working, and they get paid pennies on the dollar. And so for them to come out and have an opportunity to get a real job at 18 bucks an hour, and then move into a halfway house and be able to afford their weekly rent and to have that better life, it's exciting for me to see that. And I've got multiple people right now working for me that are right on the cusp of getting their first apartment and moving out. And I've seen it time and time again. That's why I'm doing this, because I see their success and I see what they're capable of and the joy that I see in their face of what they're accomplishing and doing it for themselves. This is not a handout. This is a hand up. They've just got to be willing to reach out and grab it and take it, because I can't do it for them. I can lead them the right way. I can show them the recipe. Our book in our class, in the life skills class, it's a recipe for success. When I wrote the book, I had to think about what was I looking for in the perfect employee? What were the issues that I need to teach everybody? And our recipe to success in this book is common sense. That's all it is. But common sense isn't common anymore. And to go back to the basics, one of our sessions is budgeting and just teaching them how to budget their first paycheck and pay the rent and what they're going to need for food and get them to understand how much money they can save and to be able to start putting money in a bank and save to eventually buy a vehicle. Our goal for each person that comes out of New Freedom and any of our courses, if they're going to work for me, One of my requirements is they move into a halfway house for 6 months. Because what we saw in the beginning when we didn't do that is a lot of people failed within the first 6 months. And if I can get them past that plateau of 6 months, the percentage of them being more successful it increased substantially. And so to be able to have them do that, and it's interesting how many of them stay much longer than the 6 months. I've got one individual, he came in as a guest speaker last night to the class and shared his story about going through the program and what he's accomplished. And he's been in the halfway house for almost 3 years now. He's not ready. He's on the verge of thinking about it. And we're going to get him in the St. Joseph the Worker program. And he's going to live there for 90 days and then get his first apartment. That's kind of what he's shooting for. But it's going to be on his terms when he's ready. But for him, he's in his 30s. This is his very first job he's ever had in his life. And for him, he's taking it slow. He's taking it at his own pace to make sure that each step of the way, he's 100% successful. And that's what we're trying to do. So as you go through your day, your work, and whatever you're dealing with, just realize that if you hit your rock bottom, ask for help. And the majority of rock bottoms are typically due to alcohol, drugs, some other nature. And if we can control that and fix that, success is right around the corner. I want everybody, if you see somebody in need out there, if you see somebody in help or they're asking for help, just reach out and give them a hand. Help them get the help they need. Because you might be that last moment that they need. Once again, guys, thanks for joining me. Stay hungry.